So, I'm here to tell you about my sabbatical project from fall of 2013. And I first wanted to also thank the board. As Lynn mentioned, we've been through some dark times, and during those dark years of budget cuts and so forth, sabbaticals were really reduced, and it was a scary thing, and wondering, will they be back? So I want to applaud the board and the administration for really bringing sabbaticals back in full force. I've done 2 sabbaticals over my 17 years here at the college, and each time it's been very personally rewarding and professionally invigorating. So I just want to really thank you for getting those opportunities. So to start, before talking about my most recent sabbatical, I thought I'd talk just a little bit about teaching and writing, since my sabbatical project was a book, and this is my 3rd book in philosophy. I find writing to be very, very conducive to my teaching. My first book came out about 5 years after I started teaching at Long Beach City College, and it was just so much easier to write, teaching every day with our students, trying to figure out how to make the ideas as accessible as possible. So writing just is so much easier when you're teaching constantly, but I think the writing also comes back and helps your teaching. When you're writing, you've really got to spend time to make the ideas as clear as possible. Teaching, you tend to wing it quite a bit more. And you're also always looking, when you're writing, what's the most novel way to get the ideas across, how to get them to really sink in. So my first book was on the philosophy of the Matrix trilogy, and it's been, I'm still 10 years later, I'm still using the Matrix films and my book to teach intro philosophy. And, eventually I'll probably change from that, but I just feel it's been so successful at really getting students to see philosophy in action, to make these abstract ideas concrete. So it's been a lot of fun using that book over the years. My second book, Philosophy on Tap, was the evolution of a sabbatical project that I began in 2005, 2006. And the thing about that book, once again, it pushed me. It's 48 different philosophical conundrums, each paired with 48 different great beers. And covering 48 different philosophical topics, it kind of pushed me to expand, to deal with philosophical problems that I wasn't normally dealing with in my classes, and it's enabled me to bring some of these into my classes. I've used several chapters of this book in my class, though I've sort of edited versions. I remove all beer references and so forth, and it's worked out well for my course. But one of the great benefits of this book and that sabbatical project is it enabled me to take philosophy beyond the classroom. Through that book, I did a number of philosophy and beer tasting events. I did one for the LBCC Alumni Association, did another one as a mixer for CCA. I've done a number for the UC Irvine, my alma mater, the UC Irvine Humanities Alumni Association. They actually won a statewide award for one of the fundraisers that I did with them. And I also got the opportunity to do a beer and philosophy class for the Osher Institute through UC Irvine. That's for students who are 55 years and older. I think the average age of my students in that class was about 70. And we just had a great time tasting 3 beers and discussing 3 philosophical puzzles per class. And most recently, I did a philosophy and beer tasting presentation for the American Association of Philosophy Teachers this last summer in Minnesota. And it's also been able to get my philosophy to other parts of the world a bit through foreign translations in South Korea, Brazil, and Turkey. But my latest sabbatical project, How to Live Like a Philosopher, was a 1-semester sabbatical project. But I was very pleased with what I was able to accomplish during that time. I ended up with about a 135-page manuscript with 5 completed chapters. The sort of inspiration for this book often, we feel like philosophy courses make students more critical thinkers, and, in our ethics courses, they learn to think about morality, but it's often a complaint in philosophy that while our students maybe think more about ethics, they don't always become better people. And so my aim in this book is really to make philosophy as practical as possible and to try and change students' lives as much as possible. So sort of an inspiration, we might take this quote from Seneca: "He who studies with a philosopher should take away with him at least one good thing every day. He should daily return home a sounder man, or on the way to becoming sounder." So my focus on this book is how to live, how to become a better person. And so what I do is look at a number of different philosophers and give you a synopsis of their philosophy. There's an excerpt from the philosopher. Then there's explanation and analysis. But really the key to this book is I follow each chapter up with exercises, and I'm thinking primarily for students here, to exercises that they can use to actually go out and live like the philosopher for 24 hours or for a week or for a month, depending on how hardcore they are. So chapters in blue are ones that I've finished. The ones in black, I've still got a lot ahead of me. And I've tried to cover a wide diversity of different philosophers. One of the chapters I wrote was on John Fire Lame Deer of the Lakota Sioux, who normally doesn't get covered in philosophy classes, but really an interesting guy. And so I wanted to give you a little sample exercise, as I think these exercises are kind of the key to the book. I've been using some of the chapters already. For example, the John Fire Lame Deer chapter I'm already using in my philosophy of religion class. My chapter on the Buddha I'm using in my intro philosophy classes, and my chapter on Peter Singer I'm using in my ethics courses already. But to give you an idea of the exercise, this is one that I'm implementing in my intro philosophy classes, and I've found that it's been, I think, one of the best things I've ever done in my classes, to get the students living like the philosopher. The Buddha has his Eightfold Path, and so I have my students spend 24 hours or more living the Buddha's Eightfold Path. And it has amazed me. And then when they're done, they write an essay about their experience. I tell them, writing the essay will be easy. It's living the path that will be difficult. And it really amazes me reading these essays at just how much they throw themselves into the assignment. You can tell that they're not just doing an assignment, that they're really rising to the challenge. And one of the things that's beautiful, it requires a lot of sacrifice on their part, but they seem to almost have been waiting for somebody to make them challenge themselves in these sorts of ways. So, for example, under right view, the first part of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the idea there is that the Buddhist philosophy is that attachments are what give rise to suffering. So the students need to reflect on their attachments, but to enhance the experience, I ask them to give up 2 of their attachments. So many students choose to give up their cell phone for a day, or to give up Facebook or video games, or sometimes their boyfriend or girlfriend, or fighting with their parents. And it's just amazing to read how they struggle with this and how much they learn about themselves. In addition, they look for 2 areas in their life which they need to improve. They keep a close eye on their speech for the 24 hours or more. They can have to abstain from lying, from harsh language, from gossip, from swearing. That's a real eye-opener for many of them. In addition, they generate happiness by reflecting on all the people and things that have benefited them. They go a day without eating any junk food, and they find that particularly challenging. I remember one student who said their house is full of candy, so she locked the candy in the parents' bedroom so she wouldn't get at it, and then later in the day found herself climbing through the bedroom window to get at it. So they really learn a lot about themselves and what they need to do to bring about change. And then they also go through a period of meditation at some point during the day, and that's often their first experience with meditation. So that's a basic rundown of my sabbatical project. It's, as I say, it's been a great experience, and I've especially come to see the value of the sabbatical in that I've had I felt like I accomplished so much during the sabbatical, and since, man, I've been so busy with my classes, I haven't been able to make a lot of progress. So this summer, I'm devoting this summer to really trying to get this book on its way to being finished. And I wanted to give one last plug before I go, while I've got the mic, to HR and our faculty mentoring and internship program. When I came back from sabbatical, I came back as a faculty mentor. I had 2 interns from recent master's students from Cal State LA, Sean Garrett and Roberto Garcia. And they worked with me on my intro philosophy class all semester long. And since then, they're now completing their first year of working as part-time philosophy instructors for the college, and soon branching out looking for full-time jobs. So I think that's really been an awesome program that has really benefited them. They had a lot of potential but had no college teaching experience, and we provided that for them and got them on their way. So I want to also thank HR for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the board, the chair recognizes Vice President Otto.
Very interesting presentation. When I looked at it ahead of time, I was trying to figure out how this all held together, but you did a great job of explaining it, and it makes me want to, and I will go out and get your books and look at them and see what they do. One question for you. I know a number of people that are in theater, and when you ask them why it is that they do what they do, they say it's because it's the only thing that they can think about doing it. And I have a couple of friends who were graduate students in philosophy and now are out teaching, and they've said the same thing, that they do philosophy because they can't imagine doing anything else. What do you think?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And that reminds me of something else I wanted to comment on, is we had Amelia Bolton standing up here a couple of times this evening. And when I was hired, I am actually the replacement of her grandfather. And his words to me is, the best job you will ever have, could possibly have. And yeah, he was here for many years and just loved it. And certainly the same holds for me.
Thank you. Other questions? Thank you, Matt. Dr. Long, does that conclude sabbatical presentations?
Yes, it does conclude the sabbatical presentations. Congratulations, Matt.
Thank you. Next item, 3.2. This is the 2014 annual report on campus crime. Vice President Gable, are you going to take the lead on this?
Certainly. I'm going to turn it directly over to Lieutenant Julie Pryor, who is going to give us our update on the campus crime and the changes that we've made to the report in accord with the changes to the Clery Act that have come about.
Very good. Welcome, Lieutenant Pryor.
Good evening. Good evening. One of the things that we have to now report kind of is holding us to a higher standard for a educational environment. Thank you. It requires institutions of higher education to comply with certain campus safety and security requirements because it's a condition of receiving federal financial aid as well as Cal Grant funding. One of the new things as a result of the Violence Against Women's Act, it's aimed at curbing sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking reporting. We've previously tracked those, but now we have to incorporate it in our annual report. Also, the expansion of policies on the awareness and prevention of programs for the college community. It requires disciplinary hearings on alleged incidents of domestic and dating violence, sexual assault, and stalking to be prompt, fair, and impartial. The goal is to provide a safer campus community. Some of the things that we do are for our awareness prevention. Basically, we want to educate the college community on safety and awareness, and that continues to be our priority. Topics that we covered in the year 2014 were personal safety, tips to prevent being a victim of theft, emergency preparedness, evacuation guidelines, prevention of sexual assault. The methods that we used was media services, the Viking newspaper, social media, campus postings, and in-person training. One of the things that media services helped us with last year was to videotape our active shooter drill that we did last spring break. We also videotaped one of our campus safety presentations. These are available on the college's YouTube as well as the different channels, cable companies that carry it. One of the things I wanted to highlight is our involvement regarding student discipline. The campus police have a collaborative working relationship with the Director of Student Discipline. We assist by issuing summary suspensions, enforcing the student code of conduct, and referring students as a result of contact with the campus police. And we also participate in conduct hearings and appeals as required. One of the things I also wanted to highlight was the emergency preparedness and response. The college currently has a community emergency response team, which is the CERT. They're provided training to assist victims at a disaster site and support first responders. We currently have 25 CERT-trained members from within the college community. They have periodic meetings and trainings occur throughout the year. One of the other things we have in regards to emergency preparedness response are the building emergency coordinators, referred to as the BECs. LBCC maintains a BEC for each floor of every building within the district. They implement evacuation procedures and assist in communicating the all clear. They meet twice annually for training and updates, and the LAC campus has 55 and the Pacific Coast campus has 26. Some of the other things that we also do is last year we conducted emergency operations training. As I mentioned earlier, we had the active shooting drill as well as the shakeout drill, and we're going to have that in October of this year. We participated in a Lazarus communications exercise back in October, and we had emergency notification training regarding the Blackboard Connect, and that will be, that'll be this year. In fact, that was May 27th. We also formed an emergency operations task force. We met monthly, and we reviewed and fine-tuned the emergency operations and procedures. And we also developed an emergency notification template. So if the college was to experience whether an earthquake, an active shooter, we already had these prefabbed or these templates that we just send out for mass communication. And planned emergency operations training, general emergency response training will take place next month, and we're going to do it once every semester. And then we're also going to be doing a School Dude app in November 2015. One of the things that we kind of did, we do it, but we want to make it official, so plans are in place to create and implement a behavioral assessment team. A majority of the educational institutions already have one, and as I earlier said, we kind of have one, but it was kind of not an official one. In fact, we're going to have a meeting within the next week or so. Creation of a team would provide additional resources and coordination for the health and safety of the college community. Planning committee has been formed to put this team together under the direction of Vice President of Student Support Services. Now we'll talk about the actual statistics. I continue to do this like I did with the past presentations, but with the new way that we're doing the Clary report, which everybody was provided, we do it for a 3-year comparison, but for this PowerPoint presentation, to stay consistent with the previous years, I just compare it for the 2-year. So if you look for the liberal arts campus, we did experience a 10% decrease in reportable incidents. We did see an increase at the Pacific Coast campus, which was the 28%. When we combined both campuses together, it was a 0. It was like a push. As you can see on this graph, from 2005 towards 2014, we saw at the beginning a lot of reported incidences, and as you can see over the years, it kind of remains consistent or almost near each other. Now, when you look at the crime statistics for the LAC campus, you'll notice that the decreases that we had were in grand theft, motor vehicle theft, and in, wait, flipped my page too soon, excuse me. Our decreases were in burglaries, vandalisms, drugs, and other. The other category I will explain later in another slide. The increases that we had that that kind of stick out are the petty thefts. Of those petty thefts, 13 of them were bicycles, and 11 were because of unattended items. As I've said in previous presentations, students, faculty have a habit of leaving things unattended because we're a trusting society, and then when they come back from making copies at the copier machine or to go turn a paper into their instructor, their phone will be gone, wallet gone from their backpack. So that's why I said in one of our earlier slides is we want to get it out there to the college community as far as not leaving their stuff unattended. One of the other things is the motor vehicle thefts. We had 7, but when you look at it, 6 of those thefts were at venues on Sunday at the swap meets that take place here. So if you take out those 6 that happen at the motorcycle swap meet or the auto parts swap meet, we only actually had 1, but we have to count them. And the other thing is the fact that the robbery that occurred, we have to count for it because it occurred on public property, which was Hartwell Park. Because it's in close proximity to the college, it was one of our students that was walking to school, and someone robbed him, and he had his speaker, some type of sophisticated speaker, taken from him. At the Pacific Coast campus, which I tried to jump in front of the liberal arts campus, our decreases were in the grand theft, the motor vehicle thefts, and the other category. We did see an increase in the petty thefts, which is, again, as I've said, a lot of what pushes our crime at the campuses is property crimes. And of those petty thefts, where we had 24, 12 were bikes, and then 5 were as a result of unattended items. And then with the burglaries, for some reason in December of last year, we got hit. We had a air compressor taken out of the aviation area in the middle of the night, and then on Christmas, one of our officers just happened to be backing up at the Pacific Coast campus, and he observes a male subject coming out of the EE building, and he left behind his little roller suitcase, and inside we discovered there was 3 brand new iMacs that had been put in some of the classrooms. So we were able to recover that. And then for some reason, I don't know why, but flush valves were being taken out of the MD trailers. And from what I understand, they can't scrap them for metal. What they do is, because this certain product that we carry or that they install is kind of like the Cadillac of flush valves, so people were taking them to use them elsewhere. So I know we were kind of like, why would they take flush valves? But we did have an increase in those, but not since. And as far as the arrests that occurred on the campuses, we had 4 felony arrests. They were for outstanding warrants, possession of drugs, and assault with a deadly weapon. And for the misdemeanors, we had pretty much a variety of incidents that occurred, from sleeping in a public place, littering, possession of alcohol, and as you can see, again, a variety of, but nothing really was in a major area. This is the other category that I brought up. This kind of captures like lost or stolen property, found property, traffic accidents, annoying calls, emails, misuse of disabled placards, miscellaneous, and stored vehicles. The miscellaneous would be things having to do with student misconduct or incidents that don't require a crime report taken. We're just documenting something happening, as well as potential liability issues. And as far as parking citations that we issued for the year, a little over $5,000, and total calls for service, either generated by the officer initiation or through dispatch, was about 2,900. And are there any questions?
Board of Trustees, questions at this time. Chair recognizes Trustee Baxter, followed by Trustee Zia.
Good evening, Lieutenant Pryor.
Good evening.
I had a question. What is an in-person training?
In-person training, that's what I talked about earlier, where Media Services came out and videotaped one of our campus safety presentations that we do to classrooms that request it. We've also done it for the cashier's office, administration and records. It includes personal safety tips as far as how to deal with aggressive or maybe angry students. So it's kind of a broad spectrum. And also what we did, we put it in a PowerPoint format. So we not only do it for the students, but we also do it for the faculty and staff upon request.
Okay. And what happens if an incident occurs to me on campus? What is the procedure?
As far
Like,
as
how do you find out about these crimes?
how do you find out about the crimes? You can contact me. We have a daily log that we keep at the campus.
So people
Public
call
se-
you
people
and
call
say, my car's been stolen, my
Yes.
car's been broken into?
Yes.
Okay.
They'll call dispatch or the office.
Chair recognizes Trustee Zia.
Thank you, President Kellogg. Lieutenant Pryor, thank you so much for your presentation. I had a few questions. One is on the PCC report. You mentioned it was up 28%. Why was that? Why did we have an increase at that campus?
If you look at it, of course, I don't have my spreadsheet in front of me. We did have the increases in petty theft. In 2013, we had the 10, and then we had the spike of up to 24. So that was a major increase. And then as far as the burglaries, there was an increase from 0 in 2013 to 3 in 2014. And then we had 3 incidents with assault with a deadly weapon. So that's where that then spiked it up to that 28%.
And what do you mean by other sex crimes?
On that particular one, it would have been indecent exposure.
I see. Okay. Any sexual assault incidents?
No.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So, is there anything we should be doing to make sure we're safer? Is there any additional resources or anything that we need to allocate in support of a safer environment in campus?
Well, I think on one of my slides, the new motto is, if you see or hear something, say something. Because you need to get immediate police intervention if something's going on. So that's why we want people, even if you think that, no, I shouldn't call the police, call us and let us make the decision on what needs to be done.
Okay. And then you touched on the miscellaneous. Can you expand on that? Can you give a little bit more, a couple more examples of what that entails? Because that seems to be the highest amount. Like I see 49 combined in both campuses.
Okay, miscellaneous are student misconduct, incidents that are not crime related. We're documenting slips and falls, accidents that might occur that involve district vehicles, employee incidents, and then for contractual purposes, the college might ask us to document something, and that would be a miscellaneous incident.
And what is annoying calls and emails? Is that because it's under crime statistics?
I'll give you an example. We have a former student from years back that on and off continues to reach out to the superintendent president's office And so we will sit there and generate a crime report to document these annoying emails or electronic transmissions.
And it's a crime?
Yes.
Okay.